What's good, YouTube? It's your boy JL, Mr. DD that sings himself, 7 Up Shorty, and we with another reaction video. We in a different location this time. You dig what I'm saying? Never let them know your next move, But yeah, let's get in straight without further ado. I'm gonna be reacting to one of School of Hard Knocks' videos. I was broke, found God. Now I make $15 million a year. Yeah, I need to know. We gonna get into some nuggets. I told you on this channel, bro, we react to everything. Feel what I'm saying? I got interest in money, cars, women, business, all that. You dig what I'm saying? Music, the whole nine. So we really gonna be, encapsulating and looking at everything. But anyway, let's get into it without further ado. Let's do it.
A couple months ago, I interviewed one of the most legendary business owners in the entire world. Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, what's up?
Question for you.
Yeah.
Is this your Rolls Royce?
Yeah.
And what do you do for a living out here in Tampa to be able to afford a Rolls Royce?
I am a consultant.
Are you an entrepreneur?
I am definitely an entrepreneur. I'm a business consultant.
What was the most amount of money that you made in a single year?
Most amount of money I've ever made in a single year, $15 million.
$15 million. Yeah. Have you ever been broke before?
I was broke for the first part of my life. Then I made millions of dollars, and then I was broke again. And now we've set it up in such a way that that doesn't happen anymore.
And do you believe in God?
I more than believe in God. I trust God.
I'm not even gonna lie to y'all. Shout out Myron, bro. And to say that not only do you believe in God, but that you trust him, that means he has like a different level relationship, You see what I'm saying? There's definitely levels in a relationship with God. Like, don't ever get it twisted. It's not all, no two people's relationship is the same. But as you grow in relationship, just the same way you can start to experience a different level of deepness, dependency, trust with your partner, is the same thing even times infinity with God. You see what I'm saying? So get into a place where you really trust God is not easy, but once you're there, you'll never leave type. It's one of those things. It's like once you get there, it's impossible not to. You see what I'm saying? Trusting God is a completely different vibe, because that means you know how to believe the Lord for things, or you know how to believe God for something, and how to trust and believe and perceive that he will come through. You feel what I'm saying? It's fire. Let's keep it going.
That video got over 150 million views across social media. That's Myron Golden. And he invited us out to his private golf course out in Tampa, Florida, to give you guys the blueprint on how you can become a multi-millionaire in today's world, and how you can sell and market like a $15 million a year entrepreneur. This video is about to be insane from start to finish, so stay tuned until the end. But with that being said, let's get this video on the way. All right, you guys, so we made it to the golf course out here in Tampa, Florida, and Myron's gonna be pulling up at any second, so stay tuned because you're not going to want to miss this. Wow. My guy Myron's pulling up right now, so we're gonna wait for him to come out and go up to him. You guys, come on. There he is. What's up? How you doing, man?
That car is hard.
Great to see you.
God.
Thanks for having us out here, man. It's great to see you again.
GT63.
Fancy meeting you here.
That's the four-door.
We were letting them know how many views our last video did.
It was crazy, wasn't it?
Yeah. Do you know what the number is on Instagram?
No, 100 and something million.
100 billion.
Yeah, it's 100 and something million. It's crazy.
Have you ever seen anything like that before?
Never. I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I've never seen. I didn't even know videos got 100 million views.
But I like to say, where attention goes, revenue flows.
What?
You like that one?
I do.
I know we're at the golf course. We need to get $1 million worth of game for them in this video. Can we make it happen out there?
We can make that.
Like, one real thing, man, when it comes to like markets, is that attention, eyeballs drives revenue for sure. You see what I'm saying? That's why ads be so pressed to get on everything, any piece of content they can possibly get a slot in, because they know the power of even seconds of being able to promote and market your brand before hundreds of thousands of people. You see what I'm saying? So never underestimate people. You know what I'm saying? God, at the end of the day, the most valuable thing really is not money, it's people. Because at the end of the day, you still need people in order to transact. You dig what I'm saying? No people, money is of no use. You dig what I'm saying? So God is very intentional. And when God is favoring you, he's really going to favor you with the ability to make wealth through people, with your gifts, what he's put on the inside of you and what he's given you. You know, the time plus chance situation has to do with how God orchestrates like situations and circumstances outside of you in order to really bring about what he would just consider to be the best glory for him, but you know, in your life type, if that makes sense.
We can make that happen, but before we do, I got to make sure I take care of this young lady.
100%.
All right, brother.
You ready
to go?
Let's go.
It's time to bring the game to him.
I love it. How long have you been
all rich people play golf, man. I ain't gonna lie. I know why Myron do it off the business tip.
Definitely not.
Parlay.
I didn't have any idea. I learned, though, when I was 16 that you don't have to have a job because my dad quit his job and he said he was never going to work for anybody again. I'm like, what are we going to do? He just started doing for himself what he used to do for other people and got to keep all the money.
Great. How much money did you make this last year?
8 figures.
8 figures.
Oh,
we got to head to this next shot, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Let's go.
We do.
8 of them.
We're on a golf course right
like
now.
playing the little
This is a playground for a lot of
Wii golf joint. That joint be hitting.
For real.
Yeah. What do you notice about all the billionaires and the wealthiest people that you've met? What do the most successful do differently from everybody else?
Hyper-focus on intention and ignore distraction.
So you don't like diversifying. You like focus going deep on one thing.
Well, diversifying is a different conversation. I don't like distractions. Intention is anything that moves the needle in your favor. Distraction is anything that you focus on that does not move the needle in your favor.
In terms of how wealthy people play with their money, what do they do differently from everybody else?
Ask me that question when we get over to T, because we got to get out of these
I
guys.
got you.
So you were saying?
What do the wealthiest people do differently from everybody else?
I think they perceive life differently as number one, but as a wealthy person, you don't view the primary purpose of money as paying bills. So poor people think the primary purpose of money is paying bills.
Middle
class people think the primary purpose
bills.
of money is to maintain good credit so they can buy things they can't afford to impress people they don't know or like. Rich people believe the primary purpose of money is to turn into more money. So that's like when I get $1, I want to turn it into 10 or preferably 100 or even 1,000 before I spend any of that dollar.
10x
the
or
secret
100x
to
your
flip that money to make that money work for you to double and multiply and grow that money.
Being able to perceive what's valuable to other people.
You've already done your overhead and everything like that to make sure your business still runs.
Investing in real estate or whether you're selling insurance, it doesn't matter. You have to solve somebody else's problem in order to solve your money problem. And you can't be focused on your money problem when you're solving it. You have to be focused on whatever their problem is.
How old were you when you made your first million?
I was 43. Maybe, no, I was 45. I was 45 when I made my first.
But you had lost it when you had first made it.
Well, I didn't. I had made $1 million a year for a couple of years in a row and then lost all my money.
Why did you lose everything?
Wow.
We just had a whole series of tragedies. Sometimes life comes at you fast. And I upgraded my lifestyle way too soon when I first started making money. But when you first start making 30, 40, 50,000 a month, you think you're a big baller. Or
right.
80,000 a month, 100,000 a month. You think, oh man, we're making so much money, it'll never run out. But the scripture says, when riches increase, so do they that consume them. So when you start making more money, you are going to have more expenses. So what you have to do is you have to make sure that you set yourself up in such a way that you don't spend every dime out of every dollar. You don't even, if you can live off of 10% of your revenue or 10% of your income, now you're in a place where the bottom can fall out and you're still going to be okay for at least a couple of years.
Nah, that's real, bro. Like on my soul, like you can't. It's so hard because when you're in poverty or when you're broke, the knee-jerk reaction is to focus on your immediate problem. And that's how the enemy and just distractions work, because they get you to focus on what you assume to be the problem because it's blatant. But blatancy, or things being blatant, is literally just that. It's a distraction. Especially if you're trying to make money, you have to focus on the problem that is going to make you bread, not the bill that you have to pay, because that's short term. You're going to have a bill the very next month. So you might as well free that. You're still suffering either way you go. If you're doing the bill route and just surviving, you're still suffering. If you're trying to go the entrepreneur route and build up your life and 10x it or whatever the case is, for sort of libertarianism, a sort of liberty in your lifestyle, you're still going to suffer either way. But one is actually building to a future where you won't have to survive. One will just keep you in survival. So the choice is yours.
Right.
There's a saying that I love: stay small enough long enough and you'll be big enough soon enough.
Stay small long enough, you'll be big enough.
It's like, even if you're making, like you said, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 a month, it's like, keep the expenses low.
Keep the expenses low.
Yeah. Even when the margins and the profits are high, it's like,
absolutely. And it gives you the ability to acquire massive amounts of wealth. And the more money you have, if you understand how to turn money into money, the bigger that amount gets, the faster it gets bigger. If you're not always taking some money out to go
compound
buy stuff.
interest.
And there's nothing wrong with buying stuff.
stuff.
You want to make sure that the business is sustained first.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Like something people don't understand too when it comes to business is margins. Like this is why stuff be marked up. Like learning business will help you to understand why businesses make certain decisions and why it's not just always about convenience, because a business does need to make money in order to run. Usually most businesses need a margin. Like if it's going to cost you $50 to make a product and I'm talking about that's spending the marketing budget, that's to produce it, that's all of that. Like if it costs you like $50, let's say to produce it like a t-shirt, market it, all that, you feel what I'm saying? And you sell the t-shirt for $60, you're only making $10 revenue. Now, if you go and you spend $5 of that profit, you only got $5 left. You feel what I'm saying? But you didn't even make enough money to pay. Like if it costs you, let's say, if it costs you like $40, if the shirt costs you like $30 to produce and you sell it for $50, that's a $20 profit, right? But if it costs you $10 to do your marketing of that and all of that in order to sell the shirt and get the shirt out, and then you only got $10 of profit. So that's really your take home after overhead. You feel what I'm saying? Your net is 50, right? Or the total gross is 50, but then what you walk away as far as profit after you spent is $10. Now, if you spend 5 of that, then you've already reduced your income, right? Or your profit by 50%. Like, so at the end of the day, margins is a very critical thing to understand when you're running a business. It's very critical. You know what I'm saying? Very, very critical. That's why markups happen. You know, that's why you go to the airport, a bottle of water is like 8 or 10 times the profit. Why? Because they're charging you on the convenience. They know it's going to be inconvenient for you to go anywhere else. You have to buy that. If you're thirsty, you're going to buy it at the airport, and therefore they finessed you because you have to come to them. You have to understand your leverages as a business too, where you can leverage in order to increase price, but not for greed per se, but you do have to think about making profit as well. So that's why, businesses are always trying to figure out how they can reduce the cost it takes for them to produce goods all the time. Let's keep it going.
What industry would you get into right now?
Something to do with AI.
Really?
Oh, for sure.
Why?
Well, because it's easier to create wealth in the economic era that you're living in than it is to create wealth in the past. So every time wealth changes,
you have to change with it.
Sectors or categories. A new economic era is introduced. From the beginning of time to the mid-1700s, you had the agricultural age, land equaled wealth.
Right.
From the mid-1700s to the mid-1900s, industrial age, machines equaled wealth. 1955 to 1978, the distribution age, outlets equaled wealth. And right now we are in the AI age. So the people who got started in AI in 2020, 2021, 2022, and even today, 2025, those are the people who create the wealth of the future.
If you had to start from zero and you had 90 days to make $1 million,
that's
your
really
life
good
depended on
point.
what would you do?
I don't think like that because I don't give myself deadlines like that. So I think you may already know this, but they don't. I don't believe in setting goals. A goal is an objective with a deadline. I don't control deadlines. I don't control the times and seasons. It's like saying to a farmer, okay, if you had to produce 7 million ears of corn by next Wednesday, what would you do? Well, there's nothing you could do. So instead of doing that, have an objective for inputs, an objective for outcomes, but don't put a time limit on it, because let it happen when it happens. And that way you're not frustrating yourself by setting a goal, not reaching the goal, and then feeling like a failure because it didn't happen when you thought it was going to happen, because it might happen 2 days later and you still felt like a failure for 2 days. Or if it happens 2 years later, you wasted time feeling like a failure for 2 years, and that feeling like a failure for 2 years might even cause you to quit.
Right. Feeling like a failure is not going to produce a success ever.
Are you a good salesman?
Without sounding braggadocious, one of the best in the world.
One of the best in the world. So what's the one thing that you do differently from 99% of other salesmen that's enabled you to become part of that top 1%?
I only sell people things they desire to buy.
So do you think a lot of people that they sell bullshit that people don't need?
I would never phrase it like that because I don't use profanity. I think a lot of people want people to buy stuff simply because they're selling it. I only want people to buy things that they already want to buy. See, most people are looking for somebody to sell their stuff to so they can make some money. I believe that there are already millions of people in the world who would love to buy what you'd love to sell if they only knew you existed. So instead of trying to find somebody to sell something to because you have something for sale, make yourself findable for people who want to buy what you already want to sell. Make selling really easy.
Did you come from strategic SEO marketing, getting people in your field that you're trying to sell in or do commerce that are exceptional or really fluent in being able to publicize you? So that way you can find the people who have real stringent desire for your service. If your service is truly unique and it genuinely solves an issue, then you're not going to have difficulty getting, well, you shouldn't. You know what I mean? There might be challenges, but those challenges are purely an equation that you just have to work out. You feel what I'm saying? But nonetheless, trying to figure out things you've never done before purely on your own is foolish. This is why you need other people. This is why being self-made is a fallacy. It sounds good when somebody's saying it online because it boosts the ego that already feels that it's alone and secluded and has to do things on its own in this world. You feel what I'm saying? So that kind of rhetoric is always going to appeal to the ego. And you don't want narratives that appeal to your ego because that doesn't help you to grow. You want actual functional information that is applicable. You feel what I'm saying? Where you can directly measure the outcome to figure out where you need to tweak your strategy in the first place. No cap.
Instead of trying to find somebody to sell something to because you have something for sale, make yourself findable for people who want to buy what you already want to sell. Make selling really easy.
Did you come from a rich family?
Do you mean rich in money? Because the answer to that would be absolutely not. No.
So how did you change your family's trajectory? There's the saying that, the rich get richer, the poor get poorer. How did you escape the cycle of poverty?
I think the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, but the poor don't get poorer because the rich get richer and the rich don't get richer because the poor get poorer. Those statements are true, but they're not causality. They're correlation. They're not causation. How did I escape the cycle of poverty? First of all, I hated being poor. And then I learned the things that rich people did and I started doing those instead of doing the things that poor people did.
There are instances where poor people are being impoverished because there's greedy rich people. But to make that the final end-all blanket statement to apply for all cases of why people who are impoverished is actually just asinine. Like at that point, you're just looking for somebody to blame. You dig what I'm saying? Because you still have free agency. So for as long as you have free agency and not utilizing it, it's like that's incumbent on you. Like nobody can tell you to move. Like to say, oh, I'm not moving because I didn't have people to come and motivate me to move is crazy. Maybe for a time, but at a certain point, your own free agency, you have to look at that. What are you capable of doing? If you lack ignorance somewhere, then that's a place where you can go and get information. That information will already be making you more profitable. Whether the money is physically there, you're actually becoming a lot more profitable mentally, because you're loading yourself with information that's going to be profitable for who you end up becoming, the business person you end up becoming, in the future. Let's keep it going.
What did you learn and implement into your skill set?
Number one, like my good friend Daniel Priestley says, income follows assets. So I stopped focusing on working hard. I stopped focusing on 8 hours work for 8 hours pay. I stopped focusing on paying bills. I started focusing on, okay, how can I put more assets in my asset?
Assets are machines that pretty much generate money on their own.
I did. I bought and built because you can buy assets, but you can also build assets. I've written books, for instance. Every book that I've written is an asset. It pays me money every month. So you write the book once, but it pays you for the rest of your life. That's an asset.
What are you investing in right now?
Real estate, options, some crypto. The most important thing I've ever invested in is my own mind, to learn the things I don't know so I can do the things I couldn't do before.
Have you spent a lot of money on mentorship?
Depends on your definition of a lot of money. Yeah. I haven't spent nearly as much as I've made.
Right. And how much money would you say you've spent on mentorship?
If you include all the books, all the courses, all the coaching programs, all of it, about $1.7 million.
$1.7 million. What's the greatest lesson you've learned from investing over $1 million into mentorship?
Mentorship is like the ultimate shortcut. It's like somebody's already spent their whole life figuring out how to do something, and all they're going to do is charge you up some money to teach you how to do it. Sign me up for that program. I remember my first mentor, Jerry, he showed me how to sell to many, like one to many from stage, and the stuff he showed me was invaluable. It was just like, wait, what? I didn't even believe it would work, but I did it because he was my coach and he said do it. And it worked so well that the first time I did it, it was hard for me to keep from breaking out into hysterical laughter. I'm like, this is crazy. Like it's been here all along. It's not just the things that we don't know. It's the things that we don't know.
You feel what I'm saying?
What is the best advice you ever received from a mentor?
I think the thing that changed my trajectory wasn't so much a piece of advice as it was something that Robert G. Allen, the author of Multiple Streams of Income, said to me at a seminar. He was asking for testimonies. I told him, I've read your books and I've used some of your material and some of your courses, and I'm doing really good. I used to be a trash man making $6.25 an hour. Now I'm living like a king. I'm making $30,000 a month. You know what he said to me?
What did he say?
He said, you're doing really good. You're on the path to making some really big money. And he said that to me in front of like 700 people. And the first thought was, did he just diss my $30,000 a month in front of 700 people? My second thought was, wait, there's a level where $30,000 a month is not a lot of money? Oh, let me get to that level.
You have to think a lot bigger is what you're saying.
You have to think a lot bigger, and you have to learn to perceive the the big things that are already there all around you so you can access them. People think they lack access to abundance. They don't lack access to abundance. They lack access to awareness of abundance that's all around them.
Can somebody get in the room if they don't have a lot of credibility?
You pay to be in the room. You buy your way into the room, right? And you get paid on the way out of the room. I joined a mastermind 10 years ago, actually, and I was the brokest person in that mastermind, right? I was just like, I talked him into letting me do a special payment plan because I wanted to be in the program. And everybody in that mastermind acted like my ideas were the best ideas they'd ever heard. And so eventually, what that caused me to realize is I had been selling to the wrong people my whole life. I'd been selling to the people who needed it instead of the people who wanted it. That's one. And then a lot of those people later became my clients, even though I wasn't in there sniping. They just became my clients because they wanted to learn the stuff I knew. But I didn't even realize the value of the stuff I knew. I only thought people who came from where I was coming from saw value in the stuff I knew. I didn't realize people who were way ahead of me, like financially, would see value in the ideas that I had. And so learning to sell to the right people, one of the most valuable things I've ever done.
That's such a bar, bro. Most of the time, it's not even that you have a bad idea or a bad business model or whatever. It's just that honestly, you haven't found the right target audience that wants, not just needs, because people will spend for what they want more than really actually what they need. Like, we think need drives consumerism, and it doesn't. It's want. It's always been desire, and it's probably going to be like that for, in the West, in my opinion. We're not going to be a needs-based culture, economic culture. That was like probably more so in the industrial age when people were buying, when men drove the economy. But now that that's not really the case, women do a lot more of this spending, and big companies and marketers are really more so soliciting to women, particularly because they know they can get the male dollar that way anyway. Then it's kind of like we're spending based off of what we think we want, and what we want has been packaged as a need. You dig what I'm saying? Because it appeals to the ego. Why would you deny yourself something you want? You deserve this. You see what I'm saying? So even if you recognize that and you figure out who are the people who genuinely want, whatever it is that you're producing or soliciting, then that's a good the probability that you'll be profitable in that respect is a lot more likely, for sure. Just keep it going.
How do you identify the right market to go into and sell to? There's a lot of people that get shiny object syndrome where they say, oh, this and that. How do you identify the right market to go in and sell?
Well, it depends on what your objective is. So one of the things I learned a long time ago is if you want to get rich, sell to rich people, right? Sell to people with money. Why? Because they have the money to buy the stuff. It's easy to get them to pay for it because they have the money. Okay, so cool. When I think about the right people, I make my messaging so that it attracts the right people and repels the wrong people. Like a lot of people, the last thing they tell you when they're attempting to sell you something is the price. Because the stuff I sell, my coaching is $40,000 an hour. My mentorship programs, my masterminds, they range from $27,000 all the way up to $1 million a year. And so I put that out there up front. So the people who I'm not for know I'm not for them. And they don't bother me and I don't bother them. Everybody's happy.
So you said you got to solve expensive problems, because would you agree that it's the same stress to go after $5,000 problems as $100,000 problems?
Yeah, it requires the same level of energy is how I would describe it. It takes no more energy to sell $1 million program, $1 million offer than it does to sell $1,000 offer. You're just selling it to a different person.
Much,
if a person's ready to buy, they're ready to buy what they're ready.
Haggling you on
how do you get money from a rich person?
See, I don't see selling as getting money from people. I see it as delivering value to them. You get money from them because they happily pay you because you've solved the problem they've been struggling with for a long time.
How do you define sales?
I define sales as uncovering the value of what I have to offer so well that people are happy to exchange the money they have in their pocket for the value I've revealed. So most people, they think of selling as talking somebody into buying something they don't want, don't need, and can't afford, right? Because they don't see selling the way I do. If somebody says no to their offer, the first thing they do is lower their price. But I recommend, instead of lowering your price, why not just raise the value? Like, offer them more value, and then people will be happy to pay for it.
And what's the most amount of money that you made in a single day?
Most amount I've ever made in a single day
is a value. Not having to worry about family pressing you out.
You made $5 million in a single day?
Yeah.
How?
Well, by making an offer to a group of people, making a premium value offer to a group of people.
So you just get the attention and then you just just
right. What you garner the attention over time, but what you do is you develop a relationship. Like if people are going to pay you $55,000, for instance, they have a relationship with you generally on some level, at least in their minds they do. You don't walk up to a girl and say, "Hi, my name's James. Will you marry me?" Right? If you ask her that, she's going to be scared and say no. If she's not scared and say no, you should be scared and run away.
You build that rapport and that trust over time.
Over time.
The girl says, let's get married.
Prove to people that you can help them by actually helping them. And so that's one of the things that you do with your School of Hard Knocks channel. That's one of the things I do with my YouTube channel. I prove to people that I can help them by actually helping them. People say in their comments on my YouTube channel all the time, "I can't believe this guy does this much, gives us this much value for free." But it's not really free because they have to pay for it with their attention. And here's what I've discovered. People pay you long enough with their attention, they'll eventually pay you with their assets.
Wow, which means that they'll invest in you.
They'll invest in themselves through you.
They'll invest in themselves through you. You're the vehicle by which they're receiving their blessing, and that's so biblical. Like that's so biblical. Like, oh my God, like God literally hides treasures within other people. You wanting to be antisocial and you think that's cool, and trust me, I'm the first thing I'm gonna say that, because I don't really like being around people for not that I hate people or whatever the case is, just people be weird to me. But it's like you have to learn you have to recognize just the truth that at the end of the day, regardless of whether or not you enjoy people, if they're pleasant to you or not, there are people to whom God has put a lot of value in. I don't care. At the end of the day, anything you're doing, it's another person on the other side. You're trying to get into a party, you're trying to go to the business meeting, you're going to the grocery store, you're dealing with a person. You know what I'm saying? So socially, if you undermine people, if you don't see people as naturally just having value, you'll miss a lot of blessings, period, because you're looking at blessings or something favorable to you as something more material. Like, you know what I'm saying? When really what makes life beautiful is a social orientation that we're put into. Now, at the end of the day, that doesn't mean that there isn't a lot of piss in the pool. However, you just got to become a lot more refined in knowing how to discern, to identify people that are genuinely valuable. You know what I'm saying? But as you increase your own value, it's just something that becomes a lot more easily noticeable, because you gravitate to things that are a lot more to your likeness. You feel what I'm saying? So, yeah. Let me go back a little bit. That was such a bar, though.
Now, when I first interviewed you, I asked you if you believed in God, and you said, "I don't just believe in God.
I trust God."
Yeah. How did you find that trust in God? Why do you trust God?
Because He's never lied to me. But then again, He's never lied to anyone.
God
cannot lie. I trust God because He's proven to me over and over and over again that everything He says in His Word, which I believe is the Bible, is not just true, but it's truth.
What's a financial lesson from the Bible that a lot of people do not know? Does God want people to be rich?
God wants some people to be rich. Does God want everybody to be rich? I don't think God has the same plan for everybody. That's why everybody's a different person, because He's got a different purpose for everybody. I do believe that it's God's design for His children to be rich, but I believe that God also has exceptions to His own rules. And so some people, they have a different assignment. And now, I can't tell you whether or not God wants you to be rich. But I can tell you there's no doubt in my mind that He wants me to be rich. Because if He didn't, He wouldn't have shown me the principles that made me rich, right? And so you say, what's a principle in the Bible that could help people be rich? Well, it says, "The blessing of the Lord, it maketh rich, and He addeth no sorrow with it. He who will be greatest among you, let him be servant of all." One of the things I've found out in business is you can be great even if you're not good, if you're willing to serve enough people. Because greatness is your ability to serve the masses.
How old are you now?
I am 63. I'll be 64 in 2 months.
What has God been teaching you in the last year?
Man, there's so much. What has God been teaching me in the last year? That life is short. And even if you live to be 100, life is short. So love the people you love don't just repeat the same experience over and over. Pack your life with life experiences. Pack every day with life experiences. Live every day with gratitude in your heart. Greatest lesson? Everything good in my life is a gift. That's the greatest lesson. I woke up this morning and I opened my eyes, and guess what I could do? I could see. I know how to make myself look. I don't know how to make myself see.
That is so amazing advice, my friend. That reminds me of something Ravi Zachariah said a long time. Like, rest in peace, Ravi. Where he said, "Don't look just with the eye, but see through the eye. See through the eye." So, like, the apparatus of looking and seeing is like, looking is with the apparatus, but seeing is with the spirit. Like, that's discernment. In the sense that, like, two people can be looking at a dilapidated, broken home, for example, Person A will see just a broken shack, not worth it. Person B will see something to which could be like renovated, rebuilt. You know what I'm saying? They see a whole completely different picture. One is looking, one is seeing. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's just, what do you see is the question. And if you don't see anything, then stop looking. Like, learn how to see. You dig what I'm saying? Learn how to see. Because not everything is what it appears, and that's when you're looking too much. You're judging things based off of their immediate appearance, which is literally judging a book by its cover, and that's very superficial. There's no that's not intelligent, really. That's not like deeper levels of intellect. You know, somebody who's really intelligent does not just assume that what they're being shown is all that there is to be known at all. So nah, but super fire video by Myron. You know what I mean? I'm gonna have the link down below to the video as well. Y'all go run that video up, run this video up too. Like, comment, subscribe. You know, the likes definitely help to push the videos further, for sure ski. You know, I'm definitely growing in my relationship and understanding of God, and you know, thank God ultimately that our relationship is not incumbent upon ourselves, even though it is reciprocal. You know what I mean? So I bless y'all. May God increase y'all bag. May He increase your bankroll. You feel what I'm saying? From 100 to 1,000, from 1,000 to 1,000,000, from 1,000,000 to 1,000,000. Like, whatever He got for you. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's assignment is the same. You dig what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? We all in this joint together though, but it is what it is. It's your boy JL, Mr. He Who Was Saying 7 Up Shorty, like I said, and we going crazy. I love y'all, man. Y'all stay prayed up, man.